You're the only person in the room the law actually trusts, and you haven't said a single word all night. You're the court stenographer for hearings that don't officially happen. Closed sessions. Sealed depositions. The kind of testimony that never reaches a public docket because the men giving it own the docket. Your fingers move across the keys at 200 words a minute, and whatever you type becomes the truth. Not what was said. What you typed. Nobody thinks about that distinction until it's too late to matter. You learn the trade the honest way, at a court reporting academy that taught you shorthand, machine steno, the discipline of total neutrality. Type exactly what you hear. Never editorialize. Never interpret. The transcript is sacred because it's supposed to be a mirror, not a hand. Then you got assigned to your first sealed hearing, a custody case between two people who could each buy the judge's house in cash. And you understood in about 11 minutes that nobody in that room believed the transcript was a mirror. They believed it was a weapon, and you were the only one holding it. A lawyer misspoke, said a date that contradicted his own client's alibi by 3 days. He caught it half a second after it left his mouth, looked at you the way a man looks at a loaded gun somebody just noticed is pointed at him, and said nothing else. He didn't need to. He was trusting you to fix it. You didn't fix it. Not that day. You typed exactly what he said, because that's the job, and because you hadn't yet understood what the job was actually worth. The correction came 2 weeks later, in the form of an envelope. Not a bribe, technically. A retainer for editing services on future transcripts paid by a firm that represented exactly the kind of people who needed dates to be flexible. You didn't take it right away. You sat with it the way you'd been trained to sit with silence in a room, letting it stretch until someone else broke first. Nobody broke first. So you opened the envelope. The first edit was small. A word here, a timestamp there, nothing that would survive a forensic audit if anyone ever thought to run one, and nobody ever does, because the transcript is the only record, and the transcript is sacred, and sacred things don't get questioned. You typed a 15-minute recess where there'd been none, gave a man 3 sentences back that his own panic had cost him. He never knew your name, he never will. That's the whole design of the job. Your furniture that happens to hold the only copy of the truth. Word moves slowly in rooms like that, but it moves. Within a year, you weren't just transcribing sealed hearings. You were being requested for them, by name, by lawyers who'd learned that the woman at the little machine in the corner was the difference between a client walking and a client's entire family losing everything built across 3 generations. You started getting invited to pre-hearing dinners. Nobody discussed the arrangement directly. Nobody ever does. You'd just find, the next morning, that the fee for your services had quietly doubled. You built a second transcript alongside every official one, not a paper trail, nothing that could be subpoenaed. A private index in your own head, cross-referenced by case number, of exactly which words in which record didn't happen the way the record says they did. Every family whose worst afternoon you'd rewritten into something survivable. Every fortune that owes its continued existence to 15 minutes you invented out of nothing. You are the only living person who knows what actually happened in half the sealed rooms in this city, because you're the only person who knows what you didn't write down. The judges trust you because you're invisible. The lawyers trust you because you're for sale, quietly, tastefully, in a currency more valuable than money. The kind of favor that gets your nephew into a hospital residency or makes a zoning complaint against your building simply vanish from the docket, the way certain sentences vanish from certain transcripts. You stopped thinking of it as corruption a long time ago. Corruption implies you're breaking something. You're the only reason the system doesn't break these people entirely. The only soft edge in a process built by people who've never once had to sit in the chair across from a judge who already decided the outcome before the hearing started. You tell yourself you're not rewriting justice, you're just making sure it lands on people who can survive it. You almost believe that, most days. Then came the hearing that wasn't a custody dispute or a zoning complaint. A closed inquest into a warehouse collapse, 11 workers, all of them undocumented. All of them buried in paperwork faster than the building had buried them in concrete. The owner sat across the table from an investigator and, under oath, in a sealed room with only you and your machine as witnesses, said the inspection records had been falsified 3 months before the collapse, on his direct order, to save 11 days of scheduling delay. He said it plainly. He wasn't scared. He'd already been told what the transcript would say instead. Your fingers stopped, for the first time in 11 years, mid-sentence. Because here's what nobody in that room considered. You're not just the person who can erase a sentence. You're the only person who can also choose, for once, to leave one exactly where it landed. The envelope for this one is already sitting on your desk, thicker than any before it. 11 names are in a folder you haven't opened yet, families who will never see a transcript, sealed or otherwise, because sealed transcripts don't get released to grieving families, they get released to whoever's paying the woman at the little machine in the corner. You've spent 11 years being furniture that happens to hold the truth. Tonight, for the first time, the truth is asking whether furniture can decide to talk.